Welcome to the Sweet Sounds of Fighting Jiu-Jitsu Instructional Channel. James and Ryan here again. This one is going to be the ultimate Mantis Guard guide. We're going to run through everything from the Mantis Guard, basically all the different submission opportunities you have and entries you have from this guard. Also, if you make sure you go back to the previous Mantis Guards videos, we cover a few of the issues and some of the transitions from there as well, but this will be mainly geared towards the submissions from here. So make sure you get on the description as well. Sweet Sounds of Fighting Underground is there, has the jiu-jitsu strength conditioning programs, as well as a community where Ryan is in there to break down any matches or techniques.
All right, so we're going to go into Mantis Guard once again. So we talked about how to go to use your second grip to reinforce the leg, and then get into this locked-in position. All right, so what technically can we do from here? We talked about the sweeps, inversions, switching to other guards, K guards, back to De La Hiva, and all these things, but there are some submissions we can start to apply here. Again, the key method here is to cause an imbalance, okay? So this leg is very important, okay? So, and the reason why is because it's my kick, push and pull leg, okay? So, and so is this arm. It's a push and pull arm, right? I can push, I can pull. So in this particular, what I'm trying to do in this particular case is get James to the right, okay? So the way I do that is I don't need to let go of this, but I really need to use my top arm and my top leg to do this. And remember, I can move left and right. It's very hard for me to move up and down. So I'm gonna move left and right, I'm gonna make a connection. I'm gonna pull him this direction, and then I'm gonna bring in my knees to my chest, and then I'm gonna get him posting. Once the post happens, our first variation is gonna either go into leg locks. It's quite simple. We can slide the leg in. I have all my leg entanglements. Okay, depending on which way I wanna go, I can go 50-50, backside 50-50. I can go honey hole position. I can do many different leg variations, knee bars, all that stuff. From here, get to this position, okay, back to Mantis Guard. Now what we're gonna do now is I get my connection and I try to get everything to the right, but I can't, okay? Again, all I need to do is just take my Mantis Guard now is gonna switch up and kick up. I'm gonna bring it up to the armpit. Now from here, I need to raise my hips. The way I do that is I'm gonna crunch up and bring my hips up towards James. And this starts to put more weight on the shoulder. So we're effectively going into a Omoplata position. There's many things that can happen here. I can do a pendulum of a swing up and just produce a sweep, which James would have to roll on his shoulder. James may not roll on his shoulder, in which case I'm gonna step out and bring my knee to his elbow here, and then start to straighten my leg down to the ground. I step out, so that way I can swing up, and then I would go into Omoplata submission. So Omoplata. Next one is get to Mantis Guard, and let's say I start to raise my leg here. I release the Mantis Guard, I free the leg, and I can bring the leg around the head. So a lot of times the way this happens is it's not that I'm trying to break this grip. What I'm actually going to try to do is get him to have to use this arm, and obviously it would get him to post. So if I'm using this to try to destabilize him, I get my Mantis Guard, I'm kicking, I'm pushing, and I get him to post with that arm. So he has to post. Once he posts, now it's kind of a free-for-all for the upper body. This outside leg will cross through. I bring my legs towards him, and then again, I crunch down, I bring my hips up, because I want him carrying the weight, okay? Once I bring my hips up, I immediately control posture, and we start to go into all of our triangle positions. Okay, this is very effective because I also have his leg as well. Okay, so Omoplata, armbar, triangle. We're gonna go into the armbar. So much like the K guard, you'll notice anytime just as a quick reference, anytime you have a triangle or Omoplata, you also have an armbar. If you have an armbar, you have a triangle, you have an Omoplata. They all go together. So in other words, if I do all this work and I pull and I push and I get him posting on that side and I shoot this leg through, and I get here and I start to bring my hips up, and then he cuts back this way, effectively, I can switch and go to an armbar, right? So a lot of this depends on his reaction. This is a quick side note. There's arguments to be made whether I should force positions or be more malleable into not waiting, but basing my attacks or my transitions based on his response. It just depends on energy output. If I try to force positions, sometimes I'm spending more energy doing that. A lot of times in jiu-jitsu, you don't really need to force positions because there's always opportunity. It just depends on if you have the knowledge to do it and if you have the timing, right? Of course, there's other factors, natural attributes that come into play, strength, size, and all that stuff. But this is kind of one of those scenarios. It's like, if James doesn't do this, then I'm not going to try to force an arm bar, right? If he doesn't post the arm, I'm probably going to go to Omoplata. I'm not going to try to force a triangle, right? Sometimes the leg lock is the easiest, kind of pushing there's a leg. That's the easiest thing to do. But again, it just depends on what your goal is. Wrestling up's going to take a little more energy, okay? So just a few variations you can play from here. Again, this is just simply working from the Mantis guard. This gets way more complex if you start to look at all the good guards we're playing with it. It's from playing K guard, we're playing X guard, we're playing single leg X, regular De La Riva position, reverse De La Riva position. All these guards are kind of going together, and you can go in and out of those guards. So there's really no reason to try to force a position, let's say. Certainly when you're on your back playing guard, it's very useful just to see all the options that you have, and then conserve energy in what you're trying to achieve.